Okay, just going to make a short video to show you how you can use the TI-84 to calculate mean x and mean y. So to calculate the mean point, that's something that you often have to plot in an IGCSE scattergraph question. So here it says a class of 13 students was asked to record their time spent preparing for a test. The table below gives their recorded preparation times and the scores they achieved. So the first column of data, or the first row of data, minutes spent preparing. So the first student took 75 minutes, the second student 30 minutes, third student 35, and so on. And then you've got their test score. So that first student got a score of 25, second student got 31, the third student got 30. So the first student spent 75 minutes preparing for the test and they got a score of 25. So the first question, part A, which of these two variables is the independent variable? So I think it's probably a lot easier to think what is the dependent variable. So which variable is most likely to depend on the other one? So does test score depend on minutes spent preparing for the test, or is it the other way around? So the minutes spent preparing depends on the score. So surely you would like to think that the more time you spend preparing for a test before the test happens, the higher your test score is. So the dependent variable must be test score because it's dependent on minutes. So the independent variable must be the other one, which is minutes spent preparing. Okay, so part B, we've been asked to find mean x and mean y. So just in case you're wondering which is x and which is y, the independent variable should always be x. So in this case, minutes spent preparing will be our x values, and the test score will be the y values. So this question is chopped just because I'm literally just showing you how to work out a mean point, but it would lead into draw a scattergraph, draw a line of best fit, all that sort of thing, where you would need to define your x values and your y values. So we need to go to stat mode. So you press stat, and we want to be on edit mode. I've got a couple of values. What you need to do is make list 1 all of your x values. So that will be all of the minutes spent preparing, and you need to make list 2 all of your y values. So for the first number would be 75. I'm just going to transfer that first row to the first column, so transpose it. So the next student spent 30 minutes, then it was 35, 65, and so on. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. So then on list 2 you would have 25, 31, 30 and 38. So just finishing off the last two numbers, 33 and 34 in the Y list. So things to check to see if you've got the right amount. You can see it says a class of 13 students, so I'm looking for the fact that I've got 13 rows. So this is saying list 2 element 13 is 34, so that's a good little check. So I've got all the values in, hopefully they're correct. So now we press stat again and we go over to calc. Now, if you're dealing with a scattergraph, and I know that this question you can't see a scattergraph, but it is, as I said earlier, part of a question that would have a scattergraph, and I can't think of an example where you would be asked to do this sort of thing where they don't mention a scattergraph. Very, very unlikely. But you're dealing with two variable statistics. You're seeing looking for an association between two variables effectively. That's what it will lead to the rest of the question. So we need to be on to var stats, second one, press enter, and the X list is L1, the Y list is L2, and there is no frequency list, so I need to delete that. And then I press enter and enter to calculate. Okay, so now I need mean X and mean Y. So you can see the first number in this, the X with the little bar, is 61.5 to 3 significant figures. And you could put the units, that's 61.5 minutes. And Y bar, if you just go down a bit, it will do that as well. So you can see it's just it's 35.69, so that must be 35.7. And we don't actually know the units for that. It's either percentage or marks. So I would imagine it's marks. So I'm just going to take a guess on that. I hope it's marks, otherwise it's a tough test. So the average student spent 61.5 minutes on their preparation time, and they got 35.7 marks.